Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupada Ramhamsa Privajacharya Ashtotra Shubhashishimara Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Privajacharya Ashtotra Shubhashishimara Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the humble devotees, all glories to the humble devotees, all glories to the humble devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Is this loud enough for everybody? Okay. Yeah, I prefer that because the fan's really, really loud. So this morning we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, entitled Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 29, talks between Narada and King Prachinibarhi. We're in text 5. So please repeat after me. Buddhim tu pramadam vidyan mamaham iti yat kritam yam adishtaya deha smin puman bhungte shabir gunan. Buddhim tu pramadam vidyan. Mamaham iti yat kritam. Yamadishtaya dehesmin. Puman bhunkte chabir gunan. Buddhim tu pramadam vidyan. Mamaham iti yat kritam. Yamadishtaya dehesmin. Puman bhunkte chabir gunan. Buddhim tu pramadam vidyam. Mamaham iti yat kritam. Yamadishtaya dehesmin. Puman bhunkte chabir gunan. Buddhim, intelligence. 2. Then, Pramadam, the young women. Paranjani, Vidyat, one should know. Mama, my. Aham, I. Iti, thus. Yat kritam, done by intelligence. Yam, which intelligence. Idishtaya, taking shelter of. Dehe, in the body. Asmin, this. Puman, the living entity. Bhunkte, suffers and enjoys. Akshabihi, by the senses. Gunan, the modes of material nature. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The great sage Narada continued, the word pramada mentioned in this regard refers to material intelligence or ignorance. It is to be understood as such. When one takes shelter of this kind of intelligence, he identifies himself with the material body. Influenced by the material consciousness of I and mine, he begins to enjoy and suffer through his senses. Thus the living entity is entrapped. Purport. In material existence, so-called intelligence is actually ignorance. When intelligence is cleared up, it is called buddhi yoga. In other words, when intelligence is dovetailed with the desires of Krishna, it is called buddhi yoga or bhakti yoga. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 10, Krishna says, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Real intelligence means linking with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When this is done, the Supreme Personality of Godhead from within gives one the real intelligence by which one can return home, back to Godhead. Intelligence in the material world is described in this verse as pramada, because in material existence the living entity falsely claims things to be his. He thinks, I am the monarch of all I survey. This is ignorance. Actually, nothing belongs to him. Even the body and the senses do not belong to him, for they are given to him by the grace of the Lord to satisfy his different propensities through the material energy. Nothing actually belongs to the living entity, but he becomes mad after everything, claiming, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. Chanasya moho yam aham mameti. This is called illusion. Nothing belongs to the living entity, but he claims that everything belongs to him. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends that this false intelligence be purified, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. When the mirror of intelligence is polished, the real activities of the living entity begin. This means that when a person comes to the platform of Krishna consciousness, his real intelligence acts. At that time, he knows that everything belongs to Krishna and nothing belongs to him. As long as one thinks that everything belongs to him, he is in material consciousness. And when he knows perfectly that everything belongs to Krishna, he is in Krishna consciousness. Om Ikanativadandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshulanmadatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karitivachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yakripa Tamaham Bande Shigurun Dinataranam Ancha Kapatibishcha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasri Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'll read the translation again. The great sage Narada continued, the word pramada mentioned in this regard refers to material intelligence or ignorance. It is to be understood as such. When one takes shelter of this kind of intelligence, he identifies himself with the material body. Influenced by the material consciousness of I and mine, he begins to enjoy and suffer through his senses. Thus the living entity is entrapped. So, so Srila Prabhupada, he says here in the purport that the living entity is becomes mad, right? Nothing really actually belongs to the living entity, but it becomes mad after everything, claiming, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. It's funny how Prabhupada says he becomes mad after everything. Because everything, that's a lot. It's like, people want more and more and more. And yeah, it's never enough. Becomes mad after everything. One time I had to go to a store to pick up I had to pick up some luggage. I had to buy a new suitcase, and so it was here in SanDiego, and I went to this store, and because I was going to India, I need to get some new luggage. So this store happened to be situated in a mall, so I had to walk through this mall. But anyways, I went to the store, and we were walking around. I forgot who was with me. We're walking around, and then we were just kind of walking. And then I see this this woman, and she's shopping, because many women shopping there, and men, a lot of people, kids, old, young, sick, a lot of people shopping. It's one of the main activities, right? So I saw this woman shopping, and on her shirt it said, "All I want is everything." All I want is everything. So, and I thought to myself, well, at least she's honest, right? She could buy the whole store. She probably would. All I want is everything. So yeah, in material existence, people they develop desires, right, based on association. Sangat sanjayati kama. Based on association, we develop certain desires. Of course, as we've heard so many times, that's the expertise of the advertisement industry is that they make a product, and people didn't really think that they needed it or think that they wanted it. They didn't even know it really existed. Maybe it didn't exist before them, but they make a product and then they very expertly advertise it through commercials and billboards and radio and TV and internet, and they advertise it. And then gradually people start realizing, you know what, I need this. I think I want this. So due to our association with the material energy, we develop all different types of desires, and a lot of the desires, you could say most of, the material desires, specifically we're talking about material desires, they're actually unnecessary, or you could say anartha, right? Means they have no value, useless. These material desires. But somehow or other, the material desires seem to have become very important within the living entity's, life. So I need to fulfill these material desires. And for a devotee, when someone comes to Krishna consciousness, they learn about this. That okay, there's material desires, there's spiritual desires. And I have spent a lot of time cultivating material desires. So now I have to try to understand what's material desires, what material desires I have, what spiritual desires I have. Of course, you have to be careful not to meditate too much on our material desires. You think, what material desires do I have? We're going to make a list, and okay, I'm going to try to check this one off, check that one off, try to. But a devotee who is taken to the path of Krishna consciousness, they realize, there's so many material desires. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu summarizes it in the Shikshashtaka. Chaito Darpana, Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmarishvare Bhavatad Bhakti Rahoiti Ki Twai. So he says, wealth, or beautiful spouse, or followers. In Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, people, they would follow the sannyasis and the logicians, and it was you could say more of a cultured time in many ways. So many ways. So now people want followers on social media, right? Get a bunch of followers, famous. So it's fame, wealth, beautiful spouse. So these are the general things that people want in this world, and if they get them, they're considered to be successful. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, don't desire them. He's specifically saying that I don't desire these things. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu setting an example for us. We shouldn't desire them. We may have, there's nothing wrong in and of itself. Okay, what's wrong with wealth? Nothing wrong with wealth, provided it's used properly. So you want to make a lot of money? Make a lot of money. Just use it properly. Nothing wrong with, I was going to say nothing wrong with a beautiful or handsome spouse, but then again, Chanakya Pandit says, specifically he's referring to from a man's perspective, but he says something like a beautiful wife is a enemy of the, what does he say? Enemy of the husband. Yeah, he says that, right? Yeah, because you become you could become bewildered and, forget Krishna, and vice versa for a wife, whatever. So, but yeah, to have a spouse, nothing, Prabhupada was married. The whole, practically, society, ISKCON society, composes of, they got a few brahmacharis, a few sannyasis, a few vanaprasthas, and the rest are householders, most. So, nothing wrong with that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's followers, so many of them were householders. So, in fame, Bhakti Tirtha Swami, he, whenever there'd be like a news reporter or a, television, some type of way where he could get publicity, he was there. And it's not that he was just, camera happy. He was trying to get in front of the camera because he wanted to, a lot of people see him and hear him for his own sense gratification or something. But he wanted to spread the message of Krishna consciousness. So nothing wrong with fame, provided it's used properly. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying he doesn't want any of these things for his own gratification and in a material way. But what does he want? He wants ahoitaki toid, this pure devotional service, birth after birth. So in other words, he wants to reestablish, he wants to be connected with Krishna through loving service. And it's not like, oh, I have to serve God or something. No, we don't have to serve God. That's what the material world's for, right? We don't have to serve, but we should want to develop that loving relationship more and more and more. So that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is wanting. Why? Because that's the most valuable thing. You may have so many other things. We may have so many other things. But the most valuable thing is this pure devotional service. That's the most important need. So, understanding this, then devotees, they set out on the path, right? Set out on the journey. Long journey, maybe long, maybe short, but they set on the journey, step by step, trying to get closer to this goal of pure devotional service. And like Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Bhajanarayan Swami quotes some, let me see if I get this right, I'm sure some of you heard it here, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, perfection is a gradual, series of adjustments. Or progress is a gradual series of adjustments towards perfection. So gradual series of adjustments towards perfection, that's progress. So we're making adjustments. Oh, this doesn't work, that doesn't work, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. This works, this works, this works. And this way we're learning, either the hard way or the, learning from hearing from others or from bitter experience, but we're learning what works, what doesn't work in our Krishna consciousness. Of course, it's there, but, we're all individuals, and certain things work for certain individuals more or less. So, we set out on this journey, get closer to this goal, and, of course, all the new agey, and there's so many quotes out there, but, this quote, right? Every journey, right, starts with the first step. Now, thinking about that, now, if you want to go to Mount Soledad, that's about I don't know how long. If you're a fast walker, I don't know how long it'll take you. An hour and a half round trip, that's kind of fast. But it's quite a walk up there, and then you could walk back. Of course, bike riding, you could bike ride up there, shorter. But the point is that the journey to Mount Soledad and back, it starts with, that first pedal on the bike, or that first step. And then, but if somebody's thinking, oh, that's so far, and I don't know if I could really do it, and, I'm kind of feeling lazy today, or I want to sit back, or whatever, then they may give up, or they're becoming too, let's say, as devotees sometimes say, which on the modes, or you could say on the mental platform, right? That's a common thing, on the mental platform. Hey, Prabhu, get off the mental platform. So become too mental about it, means you overthink it, then it becomes very difficult and kind of, So therefore, just step by step, okay? Make the first step, and then the second step, and then the second step, and you just keep on making steps, and of course, if you're chanting japa, you don't want to be, looking at the scenery. Not at all, but you're taking your steps, and then eventually, before you know it, you're there. You reach the top. And it wasn't such a big deal afterwards. After all, so it's like that in so many things, like book distribution, for example. Oh, how am I ever going to get people to take a book? And I'm out here, and nobody really. I'm out here by myself, and is anybody really going to take a book? And there's all this kind of mental games going on. But just a devotee could focus on, okay, let me just book by book. Okay, let me just try to distribute one book to start with. Okay, I stop people. Okay, take a book. A person takes a book. All right, one book, and then go to the next book, and then go to the next book, and then before you know, you distributed 20 books, 30 books, 50 books, 100 books. But if you think, oh, how can I do this? It's too much. Same with chanting of Hare Krishna. Borijan Prabhu mentions in his book, in this very wonderful book called Japa, he says, if you think, oh, how am I going to chant 16 attentive rounds? That's like a lot of chanting. That's like 2 hours of chanting, and I got a lot of stuff to do, and can I really do it? And do I really want to do it? And it's a lot, to think about, 16 rounds. But you just chant one mantra, just try to hear Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Just one mantra, and then go, and then keep on. And before you know it, you've chanted 16 rounds. So much of our life is like that. Setting out on this journey, ultimately, it requires to give up our these unnecessary material desires, and sometimes devotees they wonder, like, oh, I've given up so much, I'm still not feeling the full mercy of Krishna, right? I've given up so much. Sometimes they think, I've given up what the whole world's chasing, right? What's the whole world chasing? Yeah, sex, the whole world's chasing sex, grossly. And sometimes they say, oh yeah, I gave up all that, chasing that, what the whole world's chasing after. And even largely devotees, right, we hope we could say, that I've given up all these subtle forms too, like subtle sex, which, profit or adoration, distinction, want to be a big person in this world, or so we've given up a lot, and sometimes we may, kind of think like, well, shouldn't I be experiencing more of the, bliss, the nectar, where's the mercy? Now, one thing to note is that Krishna, you could say, he's the supreme everything, right? So he's also the supreme greedy. Greedy person, the supreme, supremely greedy personality of Godhead. Means, okay, he could say, oh, didn't I give enough, Krishna? Didn't I give enough to you? Didn't I give up enough? And kind of, which means we're giving up, and we're also giving towards Krishna, giving to Krishna, right? That's a point of giving up. You give it to Krishna. But Krishna wants more, and he wants more, and he wants more, and he wants everything. Because ultimately it belongs to him, as it's being stated in this purport. We also are part of him, part and parcel. We belong to him. We're intimately connected. Just like Ramananda Roy, speaking to Lord Chaitanya, we had this very beautiful, maybe Rajanjananda Prabhu's listening now, I don't know, but I heard this very beautiful explanation last Sunday of the talk between Ramananda Roy and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Rajanjananda Prabhu went through Practically, the whole talk. And all the way up to conjugal love as the highest, right? With Krishna. But what was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying? He was saying, this is okay. At one point he was saying, this is okay. But he said, I want to hear more. Go further. Go further. Go further. That's what he was saying. So why? Because he wanted to go to the pinnacle, right? Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Pinnacle of Krishna consciousness. So similarly, Krishna, the spiritual master, they want us, okay, you've gone this far, but go further. Come further, Come closer, come closer, come closer. You should go further. So we can note that if we're feeling a little tension, if we're feeling a little, why isn't the mercy descending more, then that's one of the answers. Why? Because they want us to go further. And part of us feeling tension or uncomfortableness in our lives, or right, not the full mercy, is that's part of the lesson. Krishna's trying to get our attention. You get cancer, Krishna's trying to get your attention, get our attention. You get COVID, Krishna's trying to get our attention. Everything that's happening, Krishna's trying to get our attention. Of course, a lot of the times people are very stubborn, right? Which is very difficult. For an ordinary materialistic person, the position of Krishna, even contemplating, would be a very difficult job, you could say. Trying to get their attention to redevelop their relationship, and the person's like trying to call somebody, and they're just not answering. And it's like the living entity has ghosted Krishna. You know that term, ghosted. You got a friend, you got a girlfriend, you got a wife, got a husband, and you're connected to them, and all of a sudden they're gone. And then you call them, you email them, you text them, you WhatsApp them, you Instagram them, you Facebook them, right? Do everything you can to get a hold of them, and they just ghost you. They don't respond. So we've been doing that for a while with Krishna. But another thing to note in relation to us getting full mercy is that why should we be so arrogant to expect or demand Krishna to immediately respond how we want him to respond, based on us ghosting him for so long? So immediately when we, pick up the phone and try to ring Krishna, immediately he should respond to how we, in a way we want. So he is responding, but maybe it's not clear sometimes. So he wants us to go further, and part of going further is developing our intelligence more. Means our spiritual intelligence. And Prabhupada equates, in the verse and purport here, equates material intelligence to just ignorance. I mean, can you believe it? It's just like, immaterialism, so-called intelligence is actually ignorance. So it's like, someone may be a very intelligent person, materially, but here it's just equated to ignorance. So all of our material intelligence is just ignorance. So therefore we have to develop our spiritual intelligence. Which is a very important aspect of Krishna consciousness, which means realizing that Krishna is Bhoktaram Yogatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suridim Sarvabhutanam Gatva Mam Shantam Richati. That he is the supreme friend, enjoyer, proprietor, he owns everything. That's part of spiritual intelligence. Also, we have this, Prabhupada was walking one time with an industrialist fellow, Indian person, and the man was kind of boasting about his factory and how he makes this wonderful glass and this and that, and then Prabhupada said, so this the glass, what is it made out of? And the man said, it's made out of sand. And then Prabhupada said, so it's made out of sand. Where does that sand come from? And then the man said, it comes from God. It comes from Bhagavan, which is name for God. And then, so then Prabhupada said, oh, so you're stealing from Bhagavan, right? You're stealing from God and trying to make a profit. So, and, they continued walking, and then Prabhupada said, oh, so you're a thief, you're stealing from Krishna. So then they continue walking, and then the man says, oh, but I give a donation, I give donation to the temple. So Prabhupada said, oh, so you're a small thief, So, everything belongs to Krishna, and the more we could act on that and realize that, the better. And that takes, we reawaken our spiritual intelligence. And there's this wonderful verse by, I don't know if it's Madhavendra Puri, but it's Kama dinam katina katida palita dornideshas tesham jata maina kuruna prashanti udsri jaitan Atyatabate sampratam labdi buddhis twamayata sharanamabaya mamyukshatmidasya. So it says, in how many ways have I sought to obey the wicked, lusty desires? I've been trying to fulfill them, and they've brought me no peace. So he said, so now my intelligence has awakened, and I am giving up these hellish desires. This is what he's saying. He said, I'm running to you, Krishna. Please engage me in your service. So the intelligence will awaken the more we hear about Krishna. And the more we chant about Krishna, it will awaken. But one of the things that cripples our intelligence, or you could say makes us dumb, is one of the offenses towards the holy name, which is the first offense, right? What is the first? Blaspheming the devotees, to dedicate their lives to the propagation of the holy names of the Lord. You could say that this just makes us spiritually dumb, because the devotees are so dear to Krishna. They're the most dear to Krishna, actually. There's nothing more dear to Krishna than the devotees. Even, they say that the devotees are even more dear than his very self. So it's very difficult to even comprehend how dear the devotees are to Krishna. And devotees means all devotees. It doesn't mean like, oh, well, he's like a big devotee, whatever, sannyasi or guru or GBC or whatever. Or he's just some devotee I like. He's got a good mood or good attitude or whatever. Whatever our, conceptions are of who should be respected and who shouldn't within the devotee realm. But devotee means all devotees. Young devotees, old devotees. Like all devotees. All means all, without any exclusion. So, the sadhu ninda, the offenses towards devotees are becoming too critical, or even critical at all, towards devotees, is what cripples us. What makes us, it's like putting the bars between us. It's like, there's no chance of liberation, there's no chance of freedom, there's no chance of real long-term solid advancement in Krishna consciousness until one gives up this propensity. And it is very easy to commit sadhu ninda. Why? Because we're in Kali Yuga. Apichet sadarachayo bhajate mam ananya bhak. Even though Kali Yuga is just an ocean of faults. Ocean means it's full, it's unlimited. You can't measure. So similarly, within the devotee communities throughout the world, here SanDiego and the temple, it's not very easy, not very difficult to find or to see faults within the other devotees. But what is difficult, but is necessary, is that we may see faults Surprise, surprise. But, or imagined faults. Sometimes they're imagined. That's another category. There's like a person's like on some hallucination or something. But we may see. But the real duty, the real endeavor, the real necessity is to, despite seeing those faults, to see past them. And to have affection for that person that goes beyond all that. And that's actually the platform of real affection, real Krishna consciousness. And without that, it's very difficult. I mean, how can we say we have a loving relationship with Krishna? It remains impossible. So, that's the challenge, and that's part of developing our intelligence, and that's part of being intelligent, that we act in that way. And Krishna will help us. Tesham satati yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam. He gives us the intelligence to understand into which to come to Him. Means to make advancement. So yeah, in conclusion, we should not get into this mentality of I and mine. Right, I am this body, and everything in relation to this body is mine. But we should try to rise above, transcend the bodily conception, and also, develop loving relationships with the devotees, by which we could develop a loving relationship with Krishna. So, does anybody have any questions? It's a kitchen religion. We have 5 devotees in the kitchen right now. They're cooking Raj Bhog, and they're cooking breakfast, and they're cooking for some little brahmachari outing. It's a real kitchen religion. Does anybody have any, what about YouTubers or Zoomers? Tapas. Are you there, Tapas? I offended him. Alright. I probably got a lot of people who turned off the screen. Oh, that's Janananda. Alright. Nice. Okay. Thank you. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So tomorrow we'll have a class by Rajanjananda Prabhu.